Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. We have a special guest today, Muteace, joining us on the podcast. This is the second time Muteace has actually been on the podcast. The first time was right after the Genesis performance earlier in the year, the second place at Genesis, so that was really sick. We're going to get back into it talking about Peach, kind of like updating where everyone feels like Peach is in the current meta. We've seen an uptick, especially after Port. Both Mute and Umeki doing very well at that tournament, both getting top 8. So just very, very similar to Fox, obviously. So we're seeing multiple players do really well with this character. I think for Peach, this isn't a surprise or something new because even we had Samsora in the beginning of the meta too. So definitely not a character where it's like, oh, only one player is doing really well with this character, right? We've seen multiple players and Umeki even in the past in like previous Smash games, right? And even like Mute, Samsora back in Smash 4 when Peach wasn't that great. I mean, like was probably a solid high tier, but nonetheless, let's get into it. And Bam also joining us has been on a hiatus, has been really busy, so really sick to see that. We can go around the horn and just catch up with everyone. How you doing, Bam?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. You know, the year is coming to a close, right? So, it's a time for reflection, so just getting it in, man. Interested to see how next year a Smash is going to be. Honestly, there's been some, like, even though I've been more focused on work, try to tune in to tournaments, and there's just been a lot of great tournaments and a lot of great matchups. And I just feel like it's been sick to really see the level of play like people are at currently, right? But yeah, man, I'm just been hard at work, man. Hard at work and in the shadows, man. Just watching.
There you go. How about you, Ramses?
Been good preparing for UFA. I'm leaving tomorrow. It's gonna be big. I'm surprised it's not a higher tier, but I also get it. It's not as stacked as like a Terra was, but yeah, just super excited for UFA. Gonna be a great event.
Sad I'm not there, Ramsey. I'm sad I'm not
Dude,
there.
I'm not playing. No. I'm not allowed to play in events where I can get like top 32 stuff like that because I'm doing like the later slots. Yeah, exactly. So exciting stuff. It's gonna be a great way to basically close out the year because there's not like any big events coming up outside in Europe. So looking forward to make it a big one. How about yourself, Charles?
I'm doing pretty good. Watch the Throne coming up, so I mean that's the perfect time for us to show Watch the Throne. Make sure you guys tune in to Watch the Throne. Check out the merch shop. Ken just qualified, and we had a replacement. Tarek is replacing Proto, so more European representation. So that's really sick. Another thing, if you guys do like the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys do want to ask us questions, you can subscribe to our Discord. That will help us a lot. It supports us, and you can also ask us questions. So there's something you get out of it. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of prep for Watch the Throne, and I've been helping my family out back at home in Hawaii. So that's been fun.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, going to Hawaii is like really beautiful. So definitely can't complain. I go there for work, but it's also very beautiful, and it's very, I enjoy the scenery, I enjoy the food, I enjoy the people, right? So yeah, I've been doing good. How about yourself, Tony?
I am wearing the Excalibur jacket. For those who did not hear the full story, no one could put this on, and so I win. So I won life, celebrating Thanksgiving today. Very thankful.
One life. Wow, dude.
Yeah,
dude.
Too late.
It only took you how many years? Yo, well done. Well done. Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine, dude. Roll the credits.
That's great.
Artificial trust fund, baby.
Don't roll the credits just yet. Hold up.
Hold up. Watch the throne.
Mute, how's your Thanksgiving going so far?
I'm just gonna eat some food. I don't really have family in Texas, so I'm just kind of here. But we did buy some food, so I don't know about the Watch the Throne thing, Charles. I just remember how I texted you. I just don't know. Like I'm on the fence. I've been on the fence.
On the fence for like Genesis Black / Watch the Throne.
Yeah, because like my December could be like calm, or it could just be like I could just go again.
Or you could enter the roller coaster of Smash competition.
Go. Come on, man. Just
lock in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
So
run up on people like MC Hammer, like just run up.
Like dude, MC Hammer. I mean,
so far,
can't let yourself get outdone by MC Hammer, bro.
Hey, man.
Oh yeah, so that's another thing that we should shout out to Genesis Black. So we have one more qualifying spot. It's Genesis Black. It's a week before the actual event of Watch the Throne. Watch the Throne is December 8th through 10th, so the weekend before that. We have Genesis Black. So far, from what I've heard, is Zomba Cosmos so far. Umeki might come out to Genesis Black, which is like crazy. Like it'll definitely be interesting. And even for Watch the Throne, there's been other top players that have been hitting us up, and they just want to see if they can come out, grind with all the top players. I think Summit, and I mean, you can attest to this too. I think Summit is such a good tournament to grind. So we definitely want Watch the Throne to have the similar vibes in a sense where we're not bringing the players out on like Wednesday, because that's what Summit would do since they had like media days and stuff like that. So it's definitely not an entire 5 or 6 days of grinding, but I mean, everyone's still coming out on Thursday. So I think it's a lot of the best players in the world, and you get a lot of good experience regardless, right? So
yeah.
Especially when you're not like in the bracket. If you're just there and you're good, everyone wants you because it's like, oh, there's no chance I play you this weekend. So like, I know if I was there, I would be like, oh, let's warm up. Me, I'm like, oh, now you want to warm up. Huh?
Yep.
So Mute, tell me what your thought process is in terms of like weighing out your options to go to Genesis Black, because I know it's something you've been on the fence about, right?
I'm just so tired, and I've been like doing like events like 3 weeks back to back. Like it was like Miami, Port, Resin Grind, like sequencing back to each other, and then like I just went to LTC, and like I don't know, I'm just so tired, and I need to like go set up like a needling appointment, and do some other things for like my health and stuff, and I just haven't been doing that because when you travel so much, it just takes so much time. Like honestly, my laundry is a mess, to be honest, just because like when you're only here 3 days, like you just come back, check in, like you can't fix everything in the house, and I feel like I should do that. And I want to do that and like do some other things. And honestly, I just kind of want to stay home and play like other games, like Lethal Company, other stuff like that. So it's just like I have the option to make my December a vacation and just all of December off, like because the Watch the Throne, Genesis Black off, I could just sit home, I could relax, I could focus on. I wanted to get more serious about doing like content and stuff like that. So that's there for me. There's so many Metafy lessons I've been ignoring just because like I've been gone, I can't even be at my computer, so I just haven't been working on that. So I haven't been doing any of those things. I've just been traveling and stuff like that. So it was an option like, oh, I'm gonna come home, stream, the lab streams I've been doing, YouTube content, rest, do some health things, and like just take the whole weekend off and just play games with friends. But because I honestly feel horrible when I am getting ready for a tournament. So I'm basically like, I think I might go to Genesis Black, and if I do decide to do that, the whole like this week, instead of it being like, oh, this is my relax week and get stuff done, it becomes get ready for Genesis Black for like the whole week and a half that's left. And I won't even like, I'll feel so guilty playing any other game and just like trying to like relax or do anything else. It's just gonna be like, okay, do the chores I have to do, and then just start like working for Genesis Black, and it just becomes like so much stress. So that's like my thing, but I really do want to get in there. This is like weird part about me that's just like cannot stop. It's like I just want to get in there.
I mean, it's gonna be a sick
You're a
tournament.
competitor, man. Yeah, you're a competitor.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. A true competitor. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. But I think this is my last day to decide. I've been like talking to like, Jet and stuff like that. So this is the last day to decide. So I will be messaging him today and making a decision on that.
Ooh, the
So
final
I
day
think-
to think about it.
I think one of the things that really defines, like, especially a global level competitor, is that what most competitors have that other players don't isn't necessarily any particular talent. It's essentially actually a lack of something, which is balance. So I think most global competitors will actually just unseat themselves so that both the things that relax and stress themselves are generally smashed. Because if they're not doing smash, they start getting anxiety because it's like, oh, I know I should be doing this, I should be practicing. And then when they're practicing, it's, oh, I'm doing something that's stressful. And so they just end up usually with a feedback loop of some sort. And I don't even think this is just Smash in particular, just any really top level competitor. Yeah.
We've talked about this before, Tony, about how like having the best mentality is like so it's so like inhuman. Like it requires so much work. I think it would require like a lifetime of work to have like the perfect mentality. It's better to have a toxic mentality that gets you the results and then deal with the toxicity in the long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yes,
it fucking sucks. It sucks. And I think that's why a lot of like older competitors quit, is because they're like, wait, this is actually toxic. And then they try to approach it from a quote unquote more mature perspective where they're not toxic towards themselves. And then you cannot keep up, because if you're not so driven to the point of toxicity, you're not keeping up with the people who are, unless you're like a literal like monk. Like we're talking like I've lived in a Tibetan retreat for like 20 years of my life, eating only bread and water, and I have reached near enlightenment. Like that is the point at which you can probably do like competition with a healthy mindset. But I think again, it's so unachievable. So there's some degree of toxicity that you have to like be able to stomach as a top level competitor.
I'm so glad you guys understand this, because it's just like I talked for 10 minutes, but it was just like bounce my life. Get back in there, like that was
lock in.
Lock in.
Yeah. As we're just being toxic to you, like, dude, what are you doing? Just lock the fuck in, bro.
Get it together. Where's everything?
Like, I love Mute on the pod, bro.
It's actually crazy too, because I feel like just in general, right, when it comes to a lot of things, like, you know, some like major ambitions in life, like there's that you can see it, right? Even with people who are getting the upper echelons, there's a sense of obsession that is required, right, so to speak, in order to get to that point. And like, yeah, it rivals in like a lot of times it's not good for your overall well-being, right? It's like in terms of that certain balance, right? And then like you said, Ramses, where like over time you kind of learn to work through that to get it to balance it, right? So a lot of times you have to push it initially all the way to that right, and then slowly but surely you get to a place where you learn how to balance it. But it has to kind of start with that obsession, right? And so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you know, it's something that you got to work through for sure.
Even when you're trying to find that balance and you're trying to be that Tibetan monk, and it's like, I'm gonna become enlightened. I've had enough stress. You know where the best place to do it is on top of that peak. Like you can be by yourself alone there and just think, man, this is a lot lonelier than I thought it would be. But you know what? I think I'll just contemplate life here is the best.
Yeah, because it provides clarity, right? Because sometimes you can't get rid of that itch until you get to that top and you're like, oh, this is what it provides. Okay,
yeah,
now I want to restructure my like life, right? But like as you're getting there, you always got the what ifs, right? And those things haunt you over and over. Why am I not there? I could be there. I could be winning this. I could be doing that. You know, I know if I just do this, right? And so like, though, you need to be able to answer those questions first to a certain extent to then go to the next stage, right?
I just
is the Carl Sagan quote to bake an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. It's that kind of thing, right? You got to be on the peak first to be able to reflect on all the individual pieces that make up getting to the peak.
Yeah.
So 100%, I agree.
You know, my like most like weird thought ever that's like kind of like demented. It's just like I want to win like the biggest tournament of like all time. I just want to win the biggest tournament of all time and like exercise like control. And instead of popping up, I just want to like and just let it out. In the moment of like everything, when all the adrenaline rushes in, I just want to like control it completely and just like not
pop off.
Yeah. I just want to breathe.
That's the true pop off.
Just
when someone gets up and they're just there and you're just like, then you're like, you know what? That's
it's just to exercise the control, just to like have that much control over my like reaction.
Like you just won 3-0, but it was game 5, last stock, last hit, insane 10,
like,
game 10 grand finals, and then the match ends and it's just like business as usual, expected, like those kind of vibes, as if you just 3-0'd your opponent.
Yeah, it's like, maybe next time, bro.
Like Sonics versus Akola at freaking Port was just like, I knew that. Like it was so nonchalant, obviously, and then he just like casually just triple 2-stocked the best player in the world. Like it was pretty crazy. So I think that kind of shit is fucking raw, because it's just like,
that's the greatest.
Expected.
That's the greatest one.
Expected. Like whatever. Like
I was at Terra and I got upset by someone and their entire region popped off. And what he did, he looked at them and he did this. He was like, and then he shook my hand. And then he looked back at them and then he popped the fuck off. And I was like, holy shit.
Damn.
He just Jedi mind controlled them. That's insane. He was just like, no.
Be easy now.
Be easy. Exactly. Sit down.
Be easy, fools.
He's like, I pop off. You pop off when I pop off. It's crazy.
Dang,
wait for
I had mad respect for that.
Hey, that's hype.
Yeah, I think another.
All right, let's talk about Peach.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was gonna bridge
this.
I was gonna bridge this into just all the prep that you have to go through. I think what kind of frustrations does playing a character that like has high maintenance kind of take a toll on you? Because even like the prep wise or the mentality wise, because I feel like there's a lot of characters that are simple And when you take a break from the game, right? Like if you play Game & Watch, Cloud, Lucina, like these more simple characters, right? You could probably take a break from the game, come back and kind of pick up where you left off, right? But there's these other high execution characters like Peach where there's like this sense of decay because the execution's so high. Like I'm very curious to hear your mindset or your perspective on like what you feel like your decay is. Like if you don't play for a week, do you feel like your combos are going to be, is it pick up and play? What's the time frame? Like, is it a week? Is it 2 weeks that you feel like your combo game starts to decay and go downward? Is it like 2 days, 3 days? I would love to hear your perspective on it and how you
So
juggle that.
mine is like really bad, like really, really bad. I need to warm up and I need to warm up for that day. Cause like with my condition, I have like different like levels of like, I guess I can explain it as like lag in my hands sometimes.
Okay.
So I need to see like how my hands are moving that time. Cause like if there's like any type of like swelling on my hands, basically like in my brain, like let's just say like I try to move these at the same time and they're happening at the same time. They're fine right now, but sometimes like my mind muscle connection's a little slower than it needs to be at certain times. So I have to like be ready on that specific day. And with that said, generally without that, honestly, like even without all that happening, it's like probably like 3 days. Like I need to play like two days almost. Like if I'm like gonna play Peach, like I can't even do like nair combos sometimes. Like if it's just like certain ones, because like with SDI and like the hard nairs to hit, like you have to be like on top of it. I need to like lab like all the time, which is why I was saying like it's so stressful if I'm gonna do Genesis Black. Like I have to be practicing like literally every single day. Whenever I am gonna do like an event, it's like every single day because everything is too like specific. The only way to make Peach work, everything has to be so airtight, or she just sucks. Like she's just so bad. If you miss any beat, like you just lose.
Yeah, very punishing. But I mean, one thing I have noticed is I don't know, I feel like characters that are creeping up in the meta are ones that have like peak offense, like especially like Corrin upticking, right? Corrin gets a hit and then just from there it's like guaranteed frame traps, right? Like Game & Watch, Fox, these characters frame trap you for free no matter what option you pick. It's going to lead into more damage / you're probably on the ledge, right? Like eventually just leads to 50 to 80 damage and then advantage state or something like that, right? Whereas like some of these other straight hit characters, you might get a combo and then reset to neutral or something like that, right? Peach is not as like flowchart in terms of like frame trapping, but you do have that really, really high offense if you can achieve it with the high execution, right? So it's interesting to see characters that are more offense orientated rather than defense orientated, because in previous Smash games, it felt like the defensive options were so important. Do you feel like the main reason why Peach is relevant is because of her like growth, or I don't want to say overtuned offense, but like essentially you have an item and you can bullshit the game, right? In a way where you can get like crazy combos or like 0 to deaths or 0 to 80s, 0 to 90s. Do you think that is the main reason why she's meta relevant?
No. So the main reason why she's meta relevant is because like a lot of these like broken characters nowadays, they require like super 1 to like 1 answers, whereas like a lot of characters in the cast, like typically they'll just multiple choice you to death. Like for instance, like R.O.B will just multiple choice you to death, where it's like any option in the game can probably be answered by laser, gyro, nair, down tilt, or like whatever it is, right? Like one other option, 5 multiple choice. Whereas like Peach has like each 1-to-1 option to be able to deal with it. So I think what keeps her like relevant in the meta is her like disgusting amount of like versatility. So it's just like, and we have this like joke. I don't know if anyone knows anything about Earthbound, but like there's like the boss Gygas. It attacks in like ways you can't understand from another universe, and so like Giddy plays Tekken, right? And it's just like, this is not in Tekken where it's like I'm diving in from like specific angles, like you know what I mean, from that diagonal that like no one else can do. And it's like he says I got Gygased, and it's just like Kazuya's trying to electric me, and I'm Gygasing him by like floating in the air and like diving in at like the reverse parallel angle, and he's just like, what is this? Like this is not in Tekken. So those are the type of answers that like you have to use, where it's just like ones that people can't even like think of. It's just like, okay, well, Steve is doing these up tilts, and it's like, okay, well, I can poke under his low, and then I can also jump over and then reverse back and then use a like triple jump momentum and then come back in and then down tilt. It's just like these are weird answers that literally no one else can do, where it's just like I float over electric and I down air and then I wait for the electric and whiff punish it, and no one else can even do that. Like precise, specific like whiff punishing, like on command, like right above the electric, like on top of it. It's just like very specific like things. So even like dude, even Game Watch, honestly, like I think that match was horrible, but there's so many things that Peach can do that a lot of characters can't even do. Where it's just like a lot of characters get destroyed by like this disadvantage. She can like float super high and stuff like that. There's Parasol on the ledge trapping. There's just like float mix-ups to even like pressure him. It's like the way you pressure Game Watch's Peach isn't even like normal, where like you hit a shield and stuff like that. You think of like the brute offense, like she has so much movement to even pressure Game & Watch from like without even touching his shield. That's just the type of like versatility we're like talking about here. And I think it's really important. Like when you mentioned earlier, like a while back, like how Sam has been doing good with this character and that people are still doing good with Peach, like me and Umeki and stuff like that. It's a very different way. And I think it's very obvious where it's just like Sam is doing it in this way where like he like brute force his way or did a lot of offense. And that's a big reason I think he struggled with things like Game & Watch, where like that plan just doesn't work anymore because he had like one plan for the most part. But like for me and Umeki, we like go to try and like push the limits of like the character in a different like method of like technical wise. You can see me and Umeki like really pushing like setups, traps, combos that you've never seen, like turnip combos and stuff like that. Just so many different things. We have like you've never even seen Sam do that ledge option where we did like the basically like the wave dash off ledge looking thing with that type of flow option. There's just so many different things that she has in her meta, and that's the reason why it's like when people talk about Sam, it's like I don't even know if like his playstyle, if he didn't change it, because that's not something he likes to do. I don't know if you can play like that versus Kazuya and Steve. Like I think he'll just blow up. So it's a little and Game & Watch, so which of those are like three of the most like strong, like prevalent characters in our meta now. So it's like if he was still there, I don't even know if you could fight like that, because yeah. But I think her versatility is what makes some of her quote unquote like bad matchups like not feel as bad, because there's usually a way to like slow the game down and make it so that it's like with the new turnip combos you can probably keep up and hit hard enough. But that is the peak of what she has to do. And then in terms of the other thing you said where it's like, oh, do you think her brute offense or like defense is like one or the other? I don't think so, because I think most characters outdo Peach in close range. Her frame data is not actually that good. It's like, okay, even if she gets up super duper close and point blank nairs you, it's like she gets the -2 nair, but then her next frame option move, whereas most characters have like a fast option to fill in the spots between, and then also has low end lag, where it's like my down tilt is my fastest, like best ground move to use there, and it would be like a frame 8 option, which is like a lot of holes between it compared to some other characters, and then it's also -8, whereas like another character would just like swing there and have like a -5 move on like the ground move there. So that it gets kind of weird, because most characters that are like good in this meta can just auto shield you. Like if I down tilt a shield, like Rob is just like fairing me out of shield a lot of the times. Game Watch is just gonna hit me. Like all these characters are just hitting me. Yeah, and then in terms of defense, she can't even defend against like turn all the projectiles all the time completely. So it's a very weird game of like hit and run, and I think Turnip just carries everything again, because like at the end of the day when you're fighting a zoner and they have too much stuff to like even deal with, Turnip goes at this like nice angle over most projectiles, which go like kind of straight for the most part. So let's just take charge shot for an example with Samus. I don't approach that because it's just dumb. And if you get hit, you're gonna put on the ledge, and it's just dumb, and you're just over. So we gotta play a really tight neutral to win, right? Same thing with Game & Watch, right? Like that's the one thing about her that kind of sucks. Her disadvantage is kind of bad against some of these characters that streamline disadvantage stuff, because she doesn't have like something super special to get off ledge if like the ledge is being pressured already by like bacon and other things like that. So like let's just say Samus charge shots and she's shooting charge shot past the charge shot like I don't know 60% threshold where like it beats all my hitboxes. You pull the turnip, you read the charge shot, you bait them from under the platform, you kite them away, and then you throw the turnip, lob it over, hit them in the head for 12%, and dodge the charge shot and call it a day, and do it again until they die.
It feels
that's
like
what we talked about with Samus last time, right? You just throw the turnip until they die. Yeah.
The Star Fox 64 strategies.
Because everything she does is preemptive, right? There's like a nature to like a lot of characters, which is like if you think hard enough, there's probably something you can outplay on them, and then if you work hard enough, you can probably hit them hard enough, unless they're Sonic. But yeah,
it sounds like float and turnip is the two main. Like obviously Peach has a bunch of other stuff, but I think those are the two main mechanics or moves, right? Like spawning in an item is a really huge plus in this game. I think items are like really powerful. Even if you spawn like a shitty item, it's still pretty good, right? And I think turnips are just
Shitty.
They're not bad. I actually think regular turnip is pretty crazy. I mean, obviously, like when optimized, right? It takes a lot of work to make that item very good, in my opinion, because when you start doing like the chains, like you're getting like 80, 90 damage. But other than that, it's still I think it's an above average item. You know what I mean? And items are also just inherently amazing. And then float on top of that, if you don't know, you get like a full when you float on the ground or just initiate float, all of your aerials are full hop multipliers. So that's another really strong thing about Peach. And just float unlocks so many, like it gives consistency to her disadvantage. It unlocks all of these like specific movement paths that are very unique just to her. So yeah, I mean from your breakdown of like what keeps Peach in the current meta, that's kind of what I got.
You wanna know what the best part of turnip is? Like the
What's up?
best part of turnip? It's not like the turnip or the item or the damage or anything like that. It's just the 50 frames of her going down to the ground and pulling it pisses people off so bad. So badly. They just want to hit you so bad. I'm like, oh, yep, I'm over here.
Just pulling a turnip.
It's
Honest work. It's like the
Honestly,
farmer meme, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with like Peach Float. The best thing about it is just that it exists and it's a thing. So people get so caught up in trying to like cut her off from float instead of just paying attention to what's going on that they end up just being able to basically give away the game. So it's a lot easier to play a game of Ultimate when you don't have to force your way on because your opponent just gives you the initiative because they say, float, I can't handle all that. I can't react to that. I saw Peach move. That's a jump. That's a jump.
Yeah. Which is funny, right? Like you said, like those are like the two things. Like usually when anyone's doing something to either pull an item or charge an item, like people always want to chase you, right? Just that's just like very like innate thing. Like I should not let this person be powering up, so I should be I should force myself on them. And then obviously that lends itself to opening. And then like you said, the float, right? Because he's here and like oh, like look at this character just floating around, like no care in the world. Like I should be able to hit them there, right? But then obviously, then you play against a quality Peach and just the movement there and the mix up, and you're like, oh wait, never mind. This is literally fly unfly from Marvel. So sick. She run it up.
That's such a good comparison. I think the biggest thing about it is that most people feel like anything you do, they need to get some sort of advantage out of it, right? So like something that I teach a lot of my students is that like you should intentionally whiff things that are unreactable on whiff. And then see what they do. And so like realistically, if you have like a frame, like a 30 total frame move, which most characters have, that's already like basically unreactable on whiff. Because if you're whiffing a 30 frame move and they're whiff punishing you, that's not reaction. Like that's a read, right?
Yeah.
And so, but people will try. Like you whiff something, they'll be like, oh, he whiffed. That means that I deserve to get the hit. And the same goes for plucking a turnip. Like, oh, he's doing nothing for 50 frames. That means that I deserve pressure. I deserve to get my turn here. But you don't. And especially when she has a turnip in hand, like you pressure her shield a little bit carelessly. She gets a turnip toss out of shield. I mean, it's Muteace. You know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, I think that's kind of at the core of it is like people always feel like, oh, you whiffed something, that means I get to move. And so just like intentionally whiffing things or whiffing things that you know are safe, let's put it that way, can be very, very powerful. And then on top of that, if someone does punish you for something that should be safe on whiff, then they're either preempting, which, like they're not reacting. So like you can counterplay that pretty easily now that you know what, like what they're preempting. And if they are reacting to it, then again, they're like preempting a certain reaction, which is something that you can make use of as well. And especially with Peach, who has a lot of things that are just like barely unreactable, right? Like, like high float down air. Right, like you can react to the down air, but if you want to capitalize on it, you have to have the positioning ready beforehand and turnip pluck, and even just things like just floating around, right? Like not really a whiff, but you get the idea, right? The empty movement, just a lot of ways to guide people because they just don't know like where is the opening.
It's the age of the jab check. You mentioned except Sonic, so. I know traditionally Peach has a pretty difficult series of challenges against Sonic in particular. What would you say that those challenges are? And also, I'm curious, what are your plans? Like generally, obviously, we don't expect you to give away trademark secrets, but what's your general plans to address those challenges and going into Genesis Black if you did go?
Well, I think for the most part, like all the problem matchups, there's like things. Like there's ways to get good openings and stuff like that, where it's just like even on Game & Watch, you can still footstool his nair and like do other stuff like that, right? And then get the big opening. But like Sonic just being completely circle mode the entire time, it's not footstoolable, it just runs through you. You can't catch it, and then anytime you do catch him, like it might be, if they play a certain way, like it's gonna be really high up in the air and you don't really get a conversion there either. And a lot of times her boxes just trade with him because I don't have the biggest attacks. But it has like a collision problem. Same thing with like when you try to like challenge minecart, it's like the same thing basically. But I use my body, so it's just very difficult. Just all those things combined with all the escape options, it just makes for a really difficult time to land like a solid hit that actually does anything, unless it's just like, no, they whiffed a homing attack and it actually hit the ground somehow, instead of flying off the ledge and having no lag. But like, it's just, I think if I do play a Sonic player, I've been studying the matchup for like a very, very long time now. And specifically, I don't know, for Sonics, it's just like, okay, whatever, let's just try, I guess. But for Ken, I feel like I just know what he's gonna do specifically. So take that as you will, Tony. We already know, but it's just like I think I can just read him instead of just fighting the character, because I just, that character is, I think that character genuinely has some of the least counterplay of any other character, just like on the board. Because like I feel like there's, even for like Steven Causius, there's like things to do. It just doesn't matter because they're probably just gonna hit you too hard. But there is like a way to land like a hit. Whereas like Sonic, like every time anyone can give me any piece of advice, it's like, oh yeah, I know the Sonic matchup. Oh, tell me what I can do. And they're like, oh yeah, you R.O.B laser. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a micro option. Like where's the macro option that everyone can do and position and like land a real hit? Like there's just no way to actually do that besides having a tool that like leads you in like a T-jolt or something else like that. So it's just kind of crazy that that's the only thing to do. But that's why I was just like, well, let's just give up on that and let's just read them at this point. There's nothing else to do.
No, I actually like that you bring that up though too, because I do feel like there's this weird thing where people don't understand like the nuances of like just kind of general stuff that you can do against like spin dash and spin charge and stuff, right? But then also there's the other side of the coin where some people will be like, oh, you just do this, like you do, like you said, do R.O.B laser and it's fine. Like do F or do jab, they'll flank with it and it's good, right? But like I always try to tell people one of the biggest things is like you need to understand that spin dash is essentially a stance change, because if you look at it as this one thing is just going to beat it, you're like that'll work against some scrub Sonics, like, but like that's it, like at bare minimum, right? Like yeah, you can probably keep jabbing if you're playing someone on Elite Smash, that's cool, I guess. But it's like when you're talking about actually like you're playing people who are proper competitors and working that character, it's a stance. Like it literally is a stance, right? There's so many different like variants that Sonic can do out of that move, which is why it's so strong, right? Because you may have an option for this, but then they can do something that looks similar, but it's actually the counter option to what you just did, right? And understanding that nuance is really big. But yeah, I just love that like you pointed that as well too, because sometimes I feel like people don't get like those both sides of it, right? Where it's like there are some standard things where there are some openings there for spin dash, but really, and it's kind of to your point too, in terms of like where you're talking about in terms of Peach and the float and everything, but like the versatility, right, as it were, is like such a very important factor. And of course, Sonic has that in spades. He has so many options. So that's like why the character is so damn strong.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of. I hate how Sonic is designed in Smash. It's like I've hated Sonic since Smash 4. Just it's like why are we just gonna ridiculously overtune this move to the point where it's like 80% of the cast literally just gets timed out by this character because they can't chase down, like because they don't move as fast as like Fox or Mithra, or it's just, to me, I look at that game design and I know the game wasn't made for competition, but it's just like, this is so troll. Like I just look at that move, I'm like, there's no way this is just like,
oh, I love it, dude.
So
I love
it. Like, look
Sonic
at all the
brings
numbers.
The truth to this world,
they're like, yeah. So it's like super, like, doesn't matter if it hits shield or not. You can jump out of it. Before you could fucking shield in Smash 4. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
in Brawl, you could do aerial spin charge shield.
There's intangibility, so it's one of the best anti-airs in the game.
That one was broken.
It fucking
they nerf
combos
spin dash every game too.
Yeah, they have, which is hilarious. it's been worse.
It combos.
People don't remember the 54 damage version from Brawl. Yeah, that shit did 54 damage.
Yes,
and then it still true comboed into everything.
It's not 54 damage in this game.
No, sadly, only like a third of that.
Really?
Sometimes
I feel like I take 54.
Oh yeah, because then he just combos you afterwards anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sonic would have been a ridiculous
character.
character in Brawl if it wasn't Brawl mechanics. Like straight up. Like it's
Oh.
only because the game is hilariously like the way things worked that you get punished on hit. Like he'd do fair and then you just actually just hold down and fall out of it and hit him. Like it's that those are the sole reasons why Sonic was bad in Brawl.
He needed
that
it.
character, and even then that character was like a mid tier. You know, like it was like initially people thought low, and then they started running up on low tiers. Yeah. No, I'm with you, Tony. Like it's very, very funny, and then that character repeatedly got nerfed, but the game mechanics were solid now, so it didn't matter. So the character just kept being good.
So, Mute, do you feel like you're gonna stick with Peach on this matchup to like just so we can stop talking about Sonic? But like, what are your thoughts on just your perspective on beating this character? Do you feel like you might have to switch, or do you feel like you can stick it out with Peach?
Oh, I'm past the point of switching. I don't like. I just don't have a character. It's just like if I played a different character, I'd have to like invest into another character, and then the problem is it's not even like the other character. It's just like maintaining Peach already. Because imagine I'm already soul maining, and I'm telling you, if I don't play Peach for like 2 to 3 days, like everything just goes like horrible.
Yeah.
So it's just like keeping Peach top level when she has to do it like that hard. That's why like no one can even have a secondary in this game as Peach like really well. It's like you don't see Umeki playing another character. Sam didn't really play another character. It never really worked.
Ling Ling though.
Okay, that DDD is just like if you can play it, you can play a character like that. Yeah, you can play a character like that. Like I played Palu a little bit. I've done it in like a couple matchups too, where he doesn't use DDD versus like everybody, and it's just like a very slow, low APM. You can play a simple character. It's not gonna mess with you like that much. But like the character I'm trying to play is like I want to play like Bayo or something like that. So
yeah,
I
was just gonna ask you too. Like, how do you feel about like Bayo's kind of like I guess like recent like surge, right? You're seeing a lot more Bayos like pop up, and I mean obviously I know like you've always known a ton about the character and play the character and stuff as well, but do you think there would ever be a world in which you would switch to using Bayo in some matchups at least, or like what do you kind of think of the meta right now for Bayo?
Well, seeing as Peach is a toll on my mental health, I was thinking a long time ago, I was like, dude, if I won Genesis, I'd low-key be just playing like solo Bayo for fun or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's post game, like I'm done. I got mine. Like okay, let's just.
I like that. I like that.
I'm just gonna have a troll around, commentate, and play Bayo. Like I don't know. It's just like
the good life.
Yeah. I always thought like after she got her last set of buffs, actually, because I was already getting there, but I said it especially after she got her last set of buffs, like right, like you know, like near quarantine even. I literally was like, dude, Bayo's messed up. I was like, if you know everything, like know everything, do it really well. Like just the same way as like you do it with Peach. Like you have Lima and like Bloom, and you have people like play Bayo really, really well. If you know everything, she's really good. Like she's just not fair. Like it's just not fair.
Yeah.
Because like we knew for a long time about that witch strike thing, but people just didn't know how to like do it. But then like once they found out how to like do it, it was just like, oh well, you die now. Like you're seeing people almost get like roofed at like 30.
Witch strike is ridiculous.
The character is like one of the only characters that has the damage output to keep up with like Sonic of all people. Off of like one of the best bursts in the game. She has one of the best disengage, broken disadvantage, frame one air dodges,
defensive game to Sonic.
Yep.
Hurt box shifting, and like just combo starters everywhere. Like down tilt, up tilt, it's over. Forward air, it's over. Nair, you're done. Side B, gotcha. Up B out of shield, dead.
Yeah.
She benefits from top tier crouch. She benefits from the like footstool meta too. Like she has the downer. You've been seeing the downer, but just wait. I already put people on to the dive kick. Once you see the dive kick, it's not fair because when you're here and like she footstools you, she can dive kick you either direction, and you literally can't react. And if you DI wrong, you just get dive kick back air and you just die.
Damn, so that's fucking cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah, dive kick is OD.
Yeah, so you can do literally left or right. You cannot react, and if they mix you, you just get back aired. Obviously, they're probably gonna go the other direction because it will send behind them if you're like near the ledge. But like, if you DI wrong, they mix you on that one. They like, you go straight up, so you get like a true up B too off of it. So they can do like whatever. And obviously, you saw Mia get dive kicked at 0 and die. So let's just
Dude, that was hilarious, by the way.
And then lost.
And then
lost, mind you. But Yeah, no, and so that's why, like, for me, like, for a secondary, I don't even know. I'm past that point. I was just like, I was playing Palu, but then I was playing Palu for like bad matchups, and it just didn't work. And I was just like, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna play Peach. If I lose, I lose. It's like at this point, I don't know.
It's worked out for you.
Yeah, it
first
has,
Yeah,
because like I've been
definitely.
getting more deadly, and I was like, we talked about my Pichima, Mishima, Pichuya, yeah, and then I was just like killing people. I
Pichuya.
was just like, okay, well, I don't care if you zone me for like 20 years. I'm just gonna hit you once and let's just try and do this and get this over with. And I was like, okay, at that point when I started killing people, I was like, this is a little more sustainable. Like I have to hit the hard combo, but it's like it feels a lot better. It feels less stressful if you just die.
Yeah.
And I think Umeki is like probably, well, outside of you, like the most well-known Peach for dropping combos like that in tournament. Outside of that, though, I think he plays the game very differently than you. Like, if I
Okay.
were to describe your style as like you're defending and looking for like a defensive read to get the opening, he's just basically throwing things at the wall until something sticks. And if it sticks, you die. Like, the amount of flow downers that Umeki can do in 10 seconds is legitimately impressive to me. But he opens people up, right? You can say what you want, but he opens people up just aggressively, which is hard with Peach. That's hard with Peach. Peach is not a character that just like aggressively runs at you and opens you up from there, but he manages to make it work. How do you like? What do you think about the comparison between you and his style, and just like in general, what you've learned from him, what you've taken from him, etc.?
I think he has the Japanese playstyle in mind, where he tries to beat you to the punch with like his game plan first beforehand, whereas like I'm trying to like counter yours. And he just tries to beat you. Like he's not gonna wait for you to like do something, then like with punish it and then back air. He's gonna try and put that back air first and stop you from even getting that option out. That's just like the easiest way to describe it. And then yeah, he's gonna go for those win conditions, like he's playing some other like a different character. He's just like shamelessly doing that down air, like he's Luigi looking for that grab or something like that. And it's like I'm down for that too. Like at this point when I do these combos, I'm low-key down. Like we can do that. But you can even see the differences. Like I even took notes. I learned how to ledge trap in a specific manner from him because I had my way of doing it, but like the way he does it, where he's like, okay, well, swing, cover this like attack, and then do for the instant Z drop, and cover some options here, and then use the float to cover something else there. Like that is like a very automized way of ledge trapping, which is more similar to like how Japan's most like prominent players like to ledge trap in the first place too. Right, like there's so much creativity Akola could be doing, but there's a reason with that mindset that he opts for the block anvil every time on the ledge to cover that one like sequence. And I think that just like says what you need to say already.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing that I wanted to pick your brain about, and I know this was at Battle of BC5, it was more on the earlier stages of the like item recatch tech. But I know a lot of the viewers for this podcast are more along the nerdier side, right? They want to hear like the deep dives into the game. So if you could, real quick, could you break down just some of the tech that you have to use to be able to do a lot of like these really long extended combos? Talk about the item lockout. I feel like a lot of people don't even know, or a lot of players don't even know about item lockout and how you have to get bypass it. And then also shout out, what's the other Japanese Peach player that labs
Yasujin.
Yasugin.
Okay.
I was on his stream and he like, corrected me. It's so funny.
Oh shit! Sorry, Yasugin.
Yeah, Yasugin is insane. Like labs
King and a scholar.
so much crazy stuff. But yeah, go ahead and explain all the tech.
Okay, so in other games, item lockouts didn't really happen like that. You could just hit the Z button and catch it back whenever you wanted to. But I don't really understand what it is, but it's like something about the buffer in this game. If you hit the Z button or like the toss button a lot of times, even after the catch has happened, aerials will come out, air dodges will come out, a lot of weird stuff starts happening. So a lot of ways to offset this is either using a double jump, initiating fast falls, using a resource like float, which like changes your state of like happening or whatever. And then there's an air dodge cancel now, which if you throw it in the startup of your air dodge, and it does matter because 2-frame air dodges, you only have 1 frame to input the toss for the like cancel. Peach has a 3-frame air dodge, so you have 2 frames to do the air dodge cancel. So what that will be is like you'll use your nair dodge, and then if you throw it, and you can't be inputting dodge still, so you have to hit it for like 1 frame, like very quickly to do it precisely. You need to hit the shield button very quickly, and then toss it like right after, like before your dodge comes out. And it helps because you can buffer the dodge after you've done the throw, and then you have to time the toss for when the air dodge timing is like starting.
Right.
So it'll end up feeling like a Palu warp shorten, where it's like for warp shortening, you'll hit the C stick around like I think it's like frame 19 when she says the words or something like that, like warp. So it kind of feels like that, but the problem is each toss has a different amount of startup and toss. The back toss air dodge
So
timing
you
feels
like lagged out for
like
like 5 seconds. Could you start like rewind like 10-ish seconds?
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
After you said warp cancel.
Warp.
Okay, it's like a warp cancel tech where you hit the C stick about like 19 frames into the warp startup. So the problem is that Peach's tosses, or like just everyone's tosses in general, have different startups and lags. So when you use like back toss or down toss, the timing is gonna be so fast. It's gonna be like back toss instantly, like as fast as you can hit it, hit the shield button, and then like throw it immediately. It's like do. Whereas like forward toss is like so much slower with the end lag. So it's like do. It's like a little bit of a timing difference. You have to like really practice all of them, and then it has to like be crazy and go into it, because the specifics of the like item combos are so finicky, and I'm still figuring them out myself. A lot of times, like I'm like good at doing it now because I've been training a lot. People have been seeing my like combo streams and stuff, but even then, the different weights and gravities of the characters is still throwing me off so much that like unless I've practiced on that character, it won't come to mind to me to be like, okay, this flows into this, and we have to do this one right here, because each character is so different. So like a big problem is that like characters' heights, right? And I want to talk about two techs in particular, where it's like ADC, which is going to be the air dodge cancel, and then the BE, which is the name of the Japanese player that discovered the tech, which is going to be a combination of jump plus float at almost simultaneously, but jump is going to happen first, and it happens to do a float for like a frame, and you can toss it. But this uses your float, but it relies on the input that hitting jump during your apex of your like jump will cause the float. So it can only be done at the apex of your jump heights, if that makes sense.
Right.
So there's only specific times where it's like if you downer them and they down like DI downer like away, it might set at a good height to do short hop forward toss and then BE down because it's at the perfect height. But if they go like up, it's too high, and then it's like in between your like full hop and your short hop, and then you can't get a BE there because it's too like inconvenient. So you do like full hop forward toss to hit it because the short hop toss won't hit it, and then you can't immediately do the BE because you have to wait for the apex of the full hop to be able to initiate the BE, and by that time it doesn't combo anymore. So the discovery later with the ADC helped so much because you can ADC at any time. So you can do that full hop and then ADC immediately downwards. But then there's a slight difference here because the BE using your float maintains like a the BE will stall your fall for a little bit. So if they're a little bit too high for your full hop, where you full hop and you forward toss, the BE, like if they're like right near me, but like a little bit on top, the ADC, if you throw it down instantly, you'll keep falling, right? So like they won't get hit by it. So you need to use the BE there so that you can stall your fall a little bit, and then it'll hit a little higher. And then you catch from there, and then you go for the ADC after. But it's really important to note in the air combo, you lose the resource and then you can't use it anymore. So it's like a lot of times I prefer to use ADC first so I can BE after, because with all the different character weights, using the float at the end lets you customize the height you need for the last finisher for the side B. Because if you miss the side B, you just die. Also. Yeah. So it's not like R.O.B where you just like side B off the stage. It's like I'm back. Like you die.
You risk your life. Yeah,
he sounds a little harder to play than R.O.B, huh?
Imagine that.
Damn.
What you're saying is
Is this something that like is this super unique per character, or is this like a general rules you can follow, like generally fast followers or generally
you can
heavier characters?
But the weight disparity is like so weird. It's like even though the gravity, when I do a down tilt combo like early, the weight disparity when I do it on a heavy, you should just go for forward down and then just do down tilt immediately. And there's different like floatiness of weights, because if you want to do the simple combo where it's like you do float cancel nair, depending on weight, there's kind of some rules you can follow, but it's really weird. Where it's like if it's a lighter floatier character, I'll just do ground float nair and I'll go for the forward toss. If it's a floatier character or like a mid-ish character, like let's say Bayo with a little more weight, you actually want to go for Z drop float nair it like pops them up a little bit and then nares them, so you get a little extra height. And then if the character is heavy, you either go for the forward down and then you reset into another down tilt, or you do you just go for the forward toss actually into the nair for extra percent. It's like so many different like things. That's why I was just saying like it's so weird. And then I just want to talk about this. The combo on Spargo I did, if he got limit on that last hit because the bar was building, my side B missed and I just lost. Because the fastballer like
yeah, he just falls down. Yeah, that's mad.
So
funny.
like
Way.
yes.
Threw your soul into that.
Yes, because I literally looked at it. I was like, this is the only thing that would kill. I don't care about the bar. I'm gonna go for it. And I just did it. And he died. I was like, oh my god. But I saw the bar building and I got so many doubts in my head. I was like, it's over. I lost. I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna look so stupid. But I was like, no, I have to. And I just did it. But that's why it's just so finicky. And then even like I was labbing on like a character, particularly DDD. Like DDD and Mewtwo.
I wonder why.
When they hit the ground,
Absolute hater.
The lig DDD destroyer.
when they hit the ground, they bounce and they literally high profile my down tilt. So you literally physically can't do like.
What?
I know. I just like why?
Wait, that
Have you tried Dark Samus? I know she bounces on some of her landing animations.
It hits her.
Too.
It hits her.
Okay.
But
Okay.
DDD, it doesn't work. It just
That's
doesn't
hilarious.
work. He won't leave me alone.
That's so funny.
That is the Peach struggle. Is like she's so strong, but she's so freaking specific.
It's so it's like why is DDD high profiling my down tilt? That doesn't make any sense.
He's the biggest character.
I know.
He needs it. He unironically kind of does. Like he needs to knowledge check you because what else can he do?
What a goon character, dude. I love
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, the routes are really weird. I feel like I could do more of them, but like it gets really, really weird where it's like, oh, forward, down, and then depending on the height and everything of the hit that you get, the follow-up changes too. It's not even like you do this combo on this character each time. It's like I hit them and they might have SD'd my upper slightly up at a little extra height. So it's like I got an IDJ to meet them up there specifically and then do ADC first and then like do a bunch of different things. It's a very dynamic. I see the knockback. I have to adapt to the combo like on hit right there. It's very finicky, which is why it's so hard to pull off.
And just to be clear for our audience at home, keep in mind, exploring these combos requires like a lot of lab time for relatively little performance. So like it takes like the better part of 100 hours to be able to use this in a tournament set realistically. And so, but that's 100 hours of lab time that is dedicated to this and only this. Like that's not Peach upkeep. So that's on top of playing Peach full time and being a regular e-athlete. On top of that, you have to put in enough time to essentially advance your study. So it's like being already in a graduate class and then still trying to advance your degree while you're also teaching your class. Like it's two jobs in one. It's not as challenging as it is. It's actually more challenging than it sounds.
Genuinely unemployed combos.
Yes, literally
genuinely unemployed. Like you
cannot be employed.
You can't do this and be employed. Like it's just so unemployed. It's not even funny.
But you
So
can
about Smash being
Game and watch
toxic.
being employed.
You check a box.
True.
Oh man, it's just like I've genuinely put in hours, and that's why I was streaming it because I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'll just stream it. And like, I didn't think anyone wanted to watch me do that. I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna be in quiet, and I'm just gonna sit here labbing for like literally like my streams go on like 6 hours at a time. Sometimes, you know what I mean, 6, 7. And I just sit there, and I was doing it. We're on day like 37 right now. I want to say, I've been updating that on Twitter. But it's just like, yeah, I've been practicing literally every single day, at least like maybe like at least like, you know, like 30 minutes, like hands permitting. So I've skipped a lot of days for health, obviously, but it's just like, those streams, like people see me just doing the same combo, and I will do the most ridiculous one because it's like if I can do the 7 toss, I'm gonna kill you with the 4 toss and bracket. You know, like. That's just like how it is, and I was just doing the craziest ones. This is like once it took like I want to say it took till like day 17, 18 of just like 6 hours straight, like every day before I could like even like start hitting it in like a match, and that was just friendlies, right? And then I started hitting them in bracket now, and it's like we're on day like a whole month basically. So. And that was a month of like, you know, just like hours. Like if I had to count how many hours, like that might be like over 150 hours, like easily.
And this is just stacked on top of your experience already, because you
of 8 years of Peach.
As the best Peach, if you start out and you're already as good as it gets, then you add on 150 hours.
Maybe you can do this. Maybe.
Yeah. Not consistently though.
I still can't even do it. Like, okay, that's great. Yeah.
Be easy.
So
be easy.
Do you feel like if you can pull this off, do you feel like that will significantly impact Peach's viability in the current meta?
Oh yeah, they're dead. They're just dead. Like, it's great. It's gonna. I genuinely think like this might push me into like the top like 10 or whatever like of like players, just because it's like you're just gonna die. Like, there's nothing you can really do. The openings are like pretty versatile. There's so many things like the one I discovered. So like with the ADC discovery, the biggest thing for me that I've been really happy about is that a lot of times it felt like past the super fishy percents, it didn't work when it was just purely BE because of like the lockout windows and stuff like that. But with another resource to be able to do it, like quad tosses are more consistent. Triple toss is my favorite one, and it's super accessible at a lot of percents. Where it's just like, I don't know if you've seen it, where I do like up air and I'll go for forward or back. Specifically back, it's a little easier. And then you can do back 80 and then do the ADC, down toss immediately, and then you can catch with BE, and then you can float, and you can modify your float height. So it's like depending on the character, it's like if they're super down there, you can do fastball down toss with the float. You can do like a floating like in place toss with forward toss into side B. You can delay it, float into them, push them a little bit before you go ahead, because the down toss has so much hit lag that you can just like forward toss and then side B after. Like, it's so much customization having BE at the end with that extra ADC to use earlier, so that you can keep that there. And you couldn't even do a triple toss that fast before, like that reliably. And I'm doing the triple toss off of double jump. So it's like all those extra highs that you can't get. It's like super good to get up there and just kill them with it. And yeah, it helps so much. And it like there's so many different platform setups now. So it's like it's accessible on platforms like on tech chases and stuff like that. Because a lot of times, like if you hit someone in the middle of the stage, let's just like think about like Battlefield, for example, I can up air them, they still in no tumble, and I can carry them to the side of the platform with the forward down or the back down or whatever it is, and then do that there, and then hit the sour down tilt, and then do forward, ADC down, forward, BE, fastball down, side B, whatever it is, and then you can just die to like literally 7 tosses, like wherever.
That makes sense. I feel like her issue before people really looked into this was risk reward more than anything, because like she could get the hits, and then she could even get the damage, but like actually like killing you before 120 is awful. But now like that, you're skipping basically one of her biggest weaknesses in the current meta, so makes a lot of sense. And the nice thing is like, because like it's not just like the combos, right? Like just the fact that it has so much reward gives you entirely new play patterns. Basically you can play it like a fucking Kazuya does, right? Like just use the move to tilt all the information gathering in your favor, and then every interaction is kind of based on avoiding it or getting hit by it, kind of like Electric Wing God Fist. And like Electric Wing God Fist by itself is not good enough to carry Kazuya's neutral in and of itself. But if you keep in mind that like now every single interaction is based around this one move, and all of the information gathering is basically controlled by Kazuya, because if he gets that read one time, you die. You kind of get that same type of dynamic there. You know, your Pichima.
One of my favorite part about this is that I literally like I'm new to all this, and I was thinking, I was like, oh, I should study like players like Shoto players and see like how they like get their hits, or like, because it feels a little limiting when you're like getting the turnip and you're like fishing for this one specific hit or whatever like that. But it's just so funny because lately I've been posting these combos and people have been seeing them, and the influence is so great. Where it's just like, I know I lost that match to Buzz because I literally hit him with a down air, and the town platform was in the way. But if that town platform wasn't in the way, I promise you I killed him off down air at 0. Literally 0. Because I hadn't labbed on that specific layout of town. So I was like, wasn't sure what was going to happen. But another time happened where I up aired him when I was making that comeback. I up aired him like 30. Bro was scared. Bro was mashing that dodge button. And I was like, wait, if you're gonna give me that, like, because I couldn't go easily. I waited for the reset, and I literally saw the air dodge, and I could have just easy turnip trained him across the entire stage and just hit him, and he would have straight to like, I don't know, 130 or something like that. It was like a super easy setup. I was like, wait, people are so scared now. They're so scared.
The power, dude.
Have you made steps into to like rework your neutral to work better with this control over the information that you have now?
That's the next step, which is why
Okay.
another reason I didn't want to go to things in December, because I just want to master the combos, because I'm still like kind of nervous and stuff like that. Like I literally get so mad. It's like not even funny. I get so angry when I miss my combos now, because it's like I sit there for like literally 7 hours a day and I'm doing this, and I miss my combo. I'm like, what am I worth? Like, what am I really worth right now? It's just like,
Yeah.
I can't ADC after 170 hours of ADCing. And I'm doing
What have I been
so
doing?
I know.
Wait.
It's just,
Mute. Are you using the lossless adapter though?
no, but I have a mouse trigger in my thing, so it's super like perfect.
Okay, but like the input system literally can just
It
fuck you
floats.
over. It's a 3-frame window, right?
2.
2-frame window. That's literally like sometimes you just drop that because of input variation.
Not
Like
even
I'm
your
sorry,
fault.
bro.
No,
That's not your fault.
It's been consistent for me. I think.
Okay.
I don't think I've. When I miss it, I think I'm just bad. I'm pretty sure I'm just bad.
It's been kind of like low key tested. So like
You should
I hope
try,
you're not.
dude.
I hope.
You
I
should
hope.
honestly try.
Yeah, like I hope you're not gaslighting yourself into saying it's your own fault.
Here's the
I just
thing,
need to
though.
lock in.
I think toxic.
He's gaslighting himself, chat.
He's toxic.
Here's
No,
the
but
thing,
like
you can't just practice on a lossless in a vacuum, because then like when you execute it in bracket, you're not playing on a lossless adapter.
Yeah.
can you not bring your lossless adapter? Like people are bringing their pro controller cables, right?
Usually at brackets, they usually will zip tie and lock off access. So some tournaments will let you access the USB ports, but there's a lot of brackets where
Ramses
if you get
devastated,
caught
dude.
trying to plug in a USB device that's not specifically approved by a TO, that's cheating. That's tampering with equipment. It's in the rules. And so you can actually, like, I've had
No
people
shot.
message me. Yeah. So people can get in trouble like plugging in an AverMedia splitter to record a video. Like there's tournaments where they won't let you do that because they think it's cheating. So if they don't let you, you're just fucked. And so the way that usually works is, so some events you can, but the idea is if you want to get this down in practice, usually what you have to do is you just have to execute it so tightly that you actually get down like the Venn diagram of, oh, well, this setup floats 1 frame, this setup floats 3 frames. And so you just have to hit that second frame since it works for both.
Yeah.
And you just have to do that. It's not practical to get it 100% perfect, but you can come as close to the 99% as you can.
But it's like it's not even 99. Anyway, I mean,
I know what you're getting at.
I feel you, Ramses. I feel
it's
you.
like that is 50% of the window, right? Like that's a pretty large part of the window.
But I only need 1 hit.
Yeah.
I just need 1 toxic living, dude.
I'm dying on the inside.
You got to take control of what you can.
I can see you.
You gotta take control of what I know, but like in Europe, you can bring your own adapter. It's great. Oh
Every
my
tournament's
god,
different. I'm willing to bet you can't in every single European tournament.
You can.
Dang, man. They got,
what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
The end.
He seriously posting in the global TO chat.
No further discussion.
Europeans, explain yourselves. What is the European rule set?
Us?
Dude.
They're unified, dude. They're
Europe
unified
is like
more than the
all
United
people.
States. Yeah, they're unified more than the
You
United
can bring
States.
your own
bro, I'm telling you.
adapters. There's a unified rule set. Like everything.
Damn,
No.
man, must be freaking
And the
nice.
healthcare, dear God.
Plus the
Wait a minute. what are
Hey
we
yo,
doing?
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
let's really talk about that. Yeah.
Speaking of things to talk about, you mentioned you're going to work your way into top 10 player territory with this. So something else you've kind of done. So we've mentioned that Peach is not just a linear improvement character. It's not like you just say, oh, well, I improved my combos, so I get this. It's more of like you get it or you don't. It's just all the way up or all the way down, and there's not a whole lot in between. And so I think that so going forward, some of the problems that like Peach has are just the oh, well, I just can't do anything matchups that you used to think were impossible, including Game & Watch and Sonic. And I think that since we've had those kinds of conversations, you've also gotten repeated wins on roadblocks such as Wrath Sonic and more significantly, I'd say Meister Game & Watch. And however, the goalposts are moving because now you've got even better versions of those or more steeper bracket versions of those in Mia and Sonic's.
EX palette swap mode.
Yeah, just palette swap, increase some stats. But in joking aside, it's not as simple as saying, oh, well, they're just this difficult. Like, it's not on a linear chart. Like, the challenges are actually different. So what would you say those challenges are, and how are you planning to problem solve those in general?
I think specifically Sonic's is just like a player thing, but like I think he can be conditioned into doing a certain thing if like one thing's not working, because he's very like the one thing about him is like some other players, like you can do something and they won't really be like receptive to it, but Sonic's is very like perceptive, so it's just like you can use that against him, you know, you can use that like perceptiveness to like make him do something else you want to.
The float theorem.
Yeah, there's something that could be done at a specific timing, maybe. But that's it, right? But for me specifically, I was like watching my VODs, I just wasn't ready to do the counterplay, but like I had a plan for Game & Watch, and I think my plan just worked still. I just wasn't ready to execute it because my footstools aren't ready. But like the way he just nares into me, I was like, I will kill you. I will actually just kill you. Like that's why I was just like, you should just die. Like I don't think this is even like a match. Let me go back to my training mode and I'll come back in like 2 months and we can come back.
I will return. Yeah.
Because I played game 1 and like I beat him in game 1 and I was like, I think I know what to do. And the other games, like it just didn't happen that well. And then I just made like stupid mistakes where like I hit him with like up air and then I nared. I was like, I'm so dumb. Because I literally told myself after, it's like no matter what happens, like since I don't have an advantage state to the like the horizontal of like Game & Watch, I will always send him up above me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why did I just nair him? And then I nared and I lost. I was like, well, that makes sense. So it's just like, and then every single time I did what I wanted to correctly, it all went correctly. And I was just like, okay, well, I can do this. And then I just can't get hit by the nairs, where it's like, if I'm less scared of the whole situation, I would just block the nair, and he wasn't spacing on me. I'll just like, and then once he stops spacing, or he starts spacing, then I can just disengage from it because he's not close enough to like pressure me like that closely with like saying like jab after. So it's like super easy to like do that nonsense. Yeah, no, I think I have a plan for that already. I just need to practice the execution. And once I execute that level where like the risk reward is like better in my favor, honestly, it feels like I'm just making the game an even playing field, in my opinion. Like when it comes to like people like Gluto, right? Where we talked about that, where it's just like, oh, yeah, now we actually have an equal playing field. Look what happens now. And you just like die instantly. It's like, yeah.
We both got wafts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's such a relatable problem though, because I'm sure most of the people watching this video are familiar with having like known, oh, I'm just going to do A and B, and they're always going to do these things, and then I'll just consistently punish it. And then they just do something else completely. And it's like, well, I told myself I wasn't going to roll, and here I am rolling. So like, what are you going to do to condition yourself to play differently so that you're actually following your game plan, so that you're consistently positioning Mia for juggles instead of going for ledge traps and offstage punishes and such?
Well, one of these things that happens for me is genuinely just being uncomfortable with like what the thing is. So it happens when it's like my game plan is like, oh, I want a footstool, and I'm questioning if I can do the footstool, but it's like once I practice that enough and I'm comfortable, my mind won't be occupied by that space, and then I won't have as many problems telling myself what to do. That's just kind of how it is. If I'm like questioning the execution, then like I get really like weird about everything. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore, or I'm just like getting like tripped up in my own thoughts, and I just like do the wrong things. But it's like once I feel more comfortable doing those inputs like on command without thinking about it, like I see the like nair, I'm gonna footstool it, and I'm not even thinking about it, then like I feel like I'll have a much easier time like directing myself to do what I need to do. And that just goes for like all those actions there, where it's just like if I'm confident in the risk reward of me just sitting there blatantly like taking the point where I want to for the whole like, you know, footstool action, then I'll be less scared and like get less finicky, get hit by all these like random stray nairs, because you're like last second deciding. A lot of the times I'd be like, oh, I'll take point, and then I see the nair coming, I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm scared, and then I just like roll, and I'm like, okay, and then I get hit by the thing on the start of my roll. But it's like, if you're super certain in your ability that this is the opening I want to kill you with, I'm gonna take that point, like no matter what, and I'm just gonna like stay there and do it. So once I train, which is why again I wanted to take December off kind of, I think I was like ready for that too. And honestly, the other part about it is that this is like one of my modes where it's like, oh, I'm in like I'm gonna kill you mode, where it's like I can always go back to my other one at any point. I can just drop the turnip and be like, oh well, now I'm defense master again, let's go. You know, it's just like I'm pretty versatile in that way, so it's just like I'm not too worried about that.
Nice. All right, well, that is going to be it for this episode. Mute, thank you for joining us, and welcome back, Bam. It was wonderful to have everyone here on this episode. And again, if you guys like the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to support us, check out the Discord. You can go ahead and subscribe and ask us questions. And until next time, class dismissed.